Recently, I saw a movie with Jack Nicholson in the main role that really hasn't held its position over time. It may have looked good in 2001, but today it just does not hit the mark. The movie with the title The Pledge is a quite boring movie, which mostly has to do with a story that dies down very quickly. The easy reason why this movie is just the most dragged movie ever made is because the movie feels over inside 30 minutes. Because the beginning is quite good and exciting when they try to catch this killer and rapist of a young little girl, who they also suspect was the same man as in another case. After they catch him, he commits suicide after he tries to escape during the interrogation, and those scenes are quite exciting. Sadly, after that, the movie feels over. Guess Jack Nicholson tries to investigate the case as he believes there was a different murderer, and nobody believes him. But now the story is much more about the retirement life of Jack Nicholson rather than solving the case. The case is still in the background, but most of the time it is about him fishing, starting a relationship with a waitress, and owning a gas station. Anyways, you see a brief moment of action that dies down rather quickly when he thinks the little girl of his new girlfriend is in danger as she goes to church with a rather strange looking man and also brings a gun to save her. It turns out it was just a false alarm and the excitement is over very quickly. The same can be said about the events in the end when the little girl is supposed to meet a wizard that never shows up because the real killer, as it turns out in the case, burns away together with his car. In those scenes, you see a whole SWAT team waiting for someone to show up, but as we know now, they were just there for no use at all. That's also one of the reasons why I don't like this movie, that they never build more on the actual exciting scenes and make them so extremely brief. Another very strange thing about the movie is the very thin zip of a plot. When Jack Nicholson investigates the case, he turns out to a little girl who has a drawing of a giant, and it all seems he investigates on very thin grounds. Although I understand this movie is based on an actual book, that book can't be very entertaining at least, because in movies with investigation and crime you need something more waterproof to keep you excited. I also think that if the real killer had shown himself a little more, like the cases in movies like The Raven and The Frozen Ground, this movie could have been a lot more entertaining. Instead, this just feels like a very drag movie that should have been thrown straight into the trash can. Another reason why I don't feel this movie quite hits the mark is because of the role Jack Nicholson plays. Although he does a decent performance, I don't quite feel he fits the role of a more serious police investigator. He is quite good at being less serious and crazier, like the case is in both Anger Management, The Bucket List, and The Shining. Here I feel that as the story is so much built on his character, that you at least could have written it more entertaining and not so bleak and grey like it seems in the movie. All in all, I will give this a 3 out of 10 because I really believe it's the most dragged movie ever made.